Favor composition over inheritance. So always favor composition over inheritance. Inheritance is basically is a relationship, while composition is a has a relationship. In general, has a relationship using composition allows changing of the behavior at runtime. Basically, you are setting that property of the dependency object during runtime by passing a different, the implementation class object. Okay. By using interfaces to compose a class, we use polymorphism, which provides a flexibility of replacing with a better implementation or different implementation anytime. Okay. So most of the design design patterns we are going to see, in fact, uses composition over inheritance. So let's actually compare the composition over inheritance. Composition provides better flexibility, as I said. When you're using inheritance, you have to define which class you are expanding in code. That has to be done at the compile time, and that cannot be changed during runtime, right? But with composition, you can define an abstraction which you want to use, and then different implementation object could be set during runtime. Okay, so it does provide runtime flexibility rather than compile time, the rigidity, I would say, of inheritance. Code reuse. Through inheritance, you can only extend one class, which means your code can only reuse just one class, not more than one. Okay. But if you use composition, that dependency class could be used in many different places, and also the code, the owner of that dependency object through composition could actually use other classes as well by having different implementation to be injected. Unit testing is typically easier. Again, we have seen that case in the dependency injection example in our previous principle, where the mark object could be injected, right? So when you design classes using composition, they are easier to test because you can supply mark implementation of the classes you are using. Okay? However, if you design your class using inheritance, you must have the parent class in order to test child class. And there is no way you can provide mark implementation of the parent class. Okay, so unit testing is in general a lot easier when you're using composition because marking is possible. Encapsulation. Even though both inheritance and composition allows code reuse through the encapsulation of the changing part, inheritance breaks encapsulation because in case of inheritance, subclass is dependent upon the superclass behavior. So if parent classes changes behavior, then child class also gets affected. If classes are not properly documented, the child class has not used the superclass in a way it should be used. Any change in the superclass can break functionality in the subclass. So that's something you have to actually think about. Okay. Final class. Composition allows code reuse even from final class, which is not possible using inheritance because you cannot extend final class in Java, which is necessary for inheritance to use code. Okay. So these are extra, I would say, the benefits of using composition over inheritance. Okay. So in general, I would say in general, favor composition over inheritance. There are cases where you want to use inheritance where relationship is clearly is a relationship. Okay, program for interface, not implementation. Again, this is actually mentioned in different principles as well. So always program for interface, not for implementation. And what that means is that you want to use interface for variable types, return types, or method argument type. Always favor abstraction. By the way, whenever I say abstraction, I'm talking about either interface, Java interface, or abstract class. The benefit is obvious: flexible code, which can work with any new implementation of the interface. Delegation principle. Don't do all stuff by yourself. So this is kind of related to single responsibility principle as well. Delegate it to respective class. Benefit: no duplication of code and pretty easy to modify behavior. Example in JDK. equals. I mean, the object class has an equals and hash code method, right? And those methods could be implemented by the subclasses. Okay, so let me just